Good morning, friends. Starting this stream up. Just waiting for the green light, and there it is. We're live. Good morning. Island Homesteader here with the Thursday, October 6th edition of There's a Better Life video devotion series. Today's topic is Love Grown Cold. Real quick before we get into it, I just want to thank several people that came over the last stream on Tuesday. Um, Several people came over from Brad, Big Family Homesteads devotion series in the morning, and I really appreciate it. They came over and started the channel, and I really thank you guys. If any of you guys watching aren't familiar with Brad and Big Family Homestead, YouTube search Big Family Homestead. That's the channel name. And every weekday morning at 10:30 Eastern, Brad does a live uh, Bible devotion. He's still searching kind of for a name. He doesn't want to call it a Bible study because he says he doesn't go very deep, but it's more of a devotion. Um, Usually reads out of Proverbs, some out of Psalms, and then out of the New Testament. And does a fantastic job. It's about a half hour long, so he goes a little longer than I do. But I encourage anyone that watches my devotion series to make sure that you watch his. And if you can, watch it live at 10:30. The chat on the chat that goes along with it is really nice. People just commenting back and forth to each other, prayer concerns, and people promising to pray for each other. So 10:30 a.m. every weekday morning, Big Family Homestead. Okay, so let's get started. Love Grown Cold. Our text today is from the book of Matthew, still in Matthew, and in the 24th chapter, and we'll read verses 12 and 13. And it says, and because this is Jesus speaking, and it's Jesus speaking to his disciples. He was talking to them about the end times or the latter days, and they were asking for a sign of what the latter days would look like, how they would know. And he says, and because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. Now, most people, when they read this or talk about this, they'll point to society and say, look, it's really easy to see that in today's society. You look around and you can see that lawlessness has increased in our society. And because of that, the love of people outside of the church has grown cold towards the things of God. And in a lot of ways, that's true. As a society, we've opened our arms and welcomed a lot of things in as normal that just 30 years ago, 20 years ago, society would never have considered normal. The way, and I'm not beating up on anybody here, but the way we have welcomed homosexuality in as a normalcy in our society. You know, homosexuality is a sin. It's in the Bible. It's plain. It's clear. We're not called to hate the sinner, but we are called to hate the sin. But society today has welcomed that in. We're teaching it in schools. That's a fight going on in a lot of school systems right now. You can't hardly turn the television on without finding a television show that now includes a homosexual couple as just a normal couple. Hollywood and the media throws it right in your face all the time. The way we welcome drugs. Pot smoking now is not considered to be any big a deal, and however you feel about that, it's illegal. So, but we've welcomed that. It's all over the media. Everywhere you look, that's what you see. So it's easy to look outside the church and say, yeah, look at society, hearts have grown cold. But in this instance, Jesus is talking to his disciples. And furthermore, in the book of Luke, the same situation's going on. He's talking about the end times, the latter days. And he says in Luke chapter 21:34, again, Jesus speaking to the disciples, but take heed to yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down with carousing, drunkenness, and cares of this life, and that day come on you unexpectedly. He's talking to the disciples. But take heed to yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down with carousing, drunkenness, and cares of this life. You know, we in the church have embraced so much from outside and have allowed it to become accepted as normal in the church. You don't have to look far to find churches that now are setting up microbreweries within the church and setting up bars in the church. There's pastors that support alcohol, pastors that will go out to the bar, drink with people, and say that they're ministering while they're drinking. Um, there's a church up the road from us, an hour up the road from us, that we just found out the other day or the other week that they're going to start a program where they're going to do a clean needle exchange, give away free condoms, and offer doses of Narcan. Narcan, if you're not familiar, is the drug that reverses narcotic overdoses. And on the outside, if you look at that, you'll think, oh, wow, that's great. They're preventing all these things and they may save lives. But that's encouraging those activities. That's encouraging those activities of the outside world. We've allowed these things to become part of the church. And because of that, many hearts within the church have grown cold. And that's the thing I really want to talk about this morning. Um, we have a fire inside of you, Jesus tells you. And that fire is stoked up by the Holy Spirit. But in so many cases, we quench the Holy Spirit. And because of quenching the Holy Spirit, that fire goes out in us. And when that fire goes out, that's when our hearts grow cold. How many Christians do you know that were on fire, solid, sold out Christians at one time, and now have returned right back to their old lives? Christians that were saved out of a life of depravity, saved out of a life of drug addiction, alcohol addiction, um, whatever, harmful relationships. Christians that were pulled out of those things, lived a spirit-filled, Christ-following life, and have now returned back to those lives of depravity. It's because little by little, friends, we allow the things of the world into our lives. And the more we allow them in, the more we accept them as normal. And when we accept those things as normal, that's when our hearts start to grow cold. Light and dark can't be in the same place. Light always drives out darkness. But if you start to turn that light off, if you start to dim that light back, darkness will creep back in. And that's what so many Christians are allowing to do in their hearts. Jesus says, beware lest you let the cares of this life. How concerned are you over your children's grades? How concerned are you over your children's entertainment? How concerned are you over your next paycheck? And those things are good things. But when we let those things come between us and that Holy Spirit fire living inside of us, we start to quench that spirit. We start to dim that light down within inside of us. And when that light dims, darkness creeps in. Guard your hearts, my friends. We absolutely live in a society where lawlessness is abounding around us. And because of that lawlessness, the hearts of many are going to grow cold. See to it that your heart isn't one of them. Guard your hearts closely. Do all that you can to guard the hearts of your children, your family, your friends in the church. Help others realize when they're allowing things come into their life that those things are a distraction and those things will quench the Spirit of God living inside of them. Because of the lawlessness around us, my friends, the hearts of many will grow cold. The love of many will grow cold. Don't be surprised when you see it. It's going to happen on even a greater scale as these days go on. There's no doubt, my friends, in my opinion, that we are living in the later days, the latter days, the last days, however you want to put it. And we must see to it that our hearts, our lives are lived in such a way that at any day Christ could return. You know, there's nothing that remains holding the rapture back. The only thing holding the rapture back is God. God is still holding back his wrath. He's still holding back Christ's return, hoping that more people will get saved before he turns those things loose on the earth. So pay attention, my friends. Watch your lives, guard the lives of those that God has entrusted you with. For that day will come as a thief in the night, and we won't know when it comes. Thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks, Mud Pie Girl, too. I think you're my first ever live viewer. I really appreciate that. And again, if you guys aren't familiar with Brad at Big Family Homestead, 10:30 a.m. every weekday morning, live devotion series over on his channel. So go over there and check him out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking 11 minutes of your time and spending it with me. I really appreciate it. Saturday, 9:30. Won't be a live stream. That'll be a recording. Weekends are just too difficult for me to live stream. But Saturday morning, 9:30, the next video in the series will be up. Thanks everybody for watching. God bless.